If you run an e-commerce brand and you want to rank #1 on Google today, I'm going to show you exactly how to do that in this video. But I also need to be honest with you, I'm not going to promise you a magic formula or some 90-day shortcut. I've been doing this for over 10 years now, working with hundreds of e-commerce and B2B companies. And what I've found is that the brands that actually reach the top of Google and scale through organic search are doing a handful of things consistently well. And most of these things are not quite what you would expect. So in this video, I'm going to break down exactly what it takes for e-commerce brands to generate a consistent flow of sales from Google using actual results and frameworks from brands we've worked with, and what ranking #1 actually means in 2026. So let's get into it. So what does ranking #1 really mean? Before we get into the how, I need to quickly set the frame on what ranking at the top of Google actually looks like right now. 5 years ago, you did your keyword research, optimized your pages, and if you got to position 1 for high volume term, you're winning. But today, you've got AI overviews, feature snippets, shopping results, people also ask boxes, and then traditional links underneath all of that. So when I talk about ranking at the top throughout this video, I'm not talking about a single keyword in a single position. I'm talking about building visibility for the terms that actually lead to purchases, the ones that feed your bottom line. There's a common misconception that the goal of SEO is ranking #1 for a broad term, but I've seen brands rank #1 for the category term and still not see revenue growth because the intent behind that keyword was informational and not commercial. And I've seen brands that rank in positions 3 through 5 for dozens of long-tail commercial terms that are far more profitable. So keep that in mind as we go through everything today. It's about building a system, not chasing a single position. So let me explain how to actually do that. Hierarchy. If I had to pick one thing I see e-commerce brands getting wrong more than anything else, it's site hierarchy. When I say site hierarchy, I mean the way your website is structured from your homepage down to your category pages, then your individual product pages. The structure should flow logically. Homepage, this represents your brand. Then your category or collection pages, this is the discovery layer. And then you've got your product pages, which are where the conversion happens. That sounds simple enough, but after looking at hundreds of e-commerce websites over the years, I can tell you that this is one of the most overlooked foundations. Here is a real example of what happens when hierarchy is off. We had an e-commerce client come to us because they weren't visible for their most valuable search terms. They had a great website, a wonderful brand, and all the signals looked positive on the surface, but when we ran an audit, we found that multiple pages were competing against each other for the same queries. Their site visitors were not converting because of the user experience, and there were technical issues blocking search engines from crawling properly. So we restructured the site architecture, eliminated the keyword cannibalization, fixed the technical barriers, and built out new product categories aligned to how their customers actually searched. The results were 32% increase in organic clicks, 37.5% revenue growth year over year, and 16.9% more transactions. And the ROI from the audit continues to compound month after month. Now, one of the things that eats into most brands' results when it comes to site hierarchy is cannibalization. Cannibalization is when multiple pages on your site are competing for the same queries. Instead of one strong page ranking well, Google is splitting its attention between 2 or 3 weaker options, and none of them perform as well as they could. This is especially common on sites with large catalogs where you have product pages, collection pages, blog posts, all touching on similar topics. We worked with a manufacturer whose website had been live for over 10 years, and over time, duplicate pages had been created that targeted the same product searches. The product retails between £5,000 and £20,000 per transaction, so this wasn't a small problem. What we did was look at the hierarchy, identify where duplicate pages were going after the same high value terms, apply canonical links pointing to the page we wanted to rank, and remove the duplicate from the site navigation. Once Google picked up the change, traffic increased considerably. So here's what I would recommend you check on your own site. Are your product pages competing with collection or category pages for the same terms? Do you have blog posts ranking for commercial queries instead of your money pages? Are there multiple variations of the same product type spread across different URLs? If the answer is yes to any of those questions, your hierarchy needs attention before anything else. By the way, if at any point in this video you want help identifying what's holding your e-commerce site back, we offer an intro call where we can talk through your specific situation. Just click the link in the description to book a time with us. Now let's keep going. Fundamentals. Moving on from structure, let's talk about something that a lot of people in the SEO industry are saying doesn't matter anymore. Fundamentals. I firmly disagree if people say fundamentals don't matter anymore. When I say fundamentals, I'm talking about the classic SEO elements. Your H1 tags, your meta titles, your meta descriptions. Now, I know Google rewrites metadata a lot of the time, but what most people miss is that you're not just writing for Google. You're feeding Google rich audience-related information that it uses when deciding what to show different users. Let me show you what this looks like with actual data. We ran a test across 131 product category pages for a large e-commerce retailer that stocks thousands of products. The changes were based on understanding their specific audience and how they search. Their customers often use descriptors, things like X products for Y people. For example, mobility aids for the elderly. So we optimized the H1s and metadata across all those pages to include those descriptors, making sure they were visible when the pages showed up in search results. As far as the meta titles were concerned, we actually ignored the traditional character limits and focused on feeding Google as much rich information as possible, knowing it's just going to rewrite them anyway based on how each individual searches. We saw a 66% improvement in clicks per day across 59 pages in one test and a 44% improvement across 72 pages in the second test. We also saw a 23% increase in add to carts and a 40% increase in checkouts from one of those tests. So the how on this is straightforward. Add the very thing that you offer into your titles. Just don't be generic. Align your titles with high purchase intent phrases, not just broad category terms. Think about the descriptors your audience actually uses when they search. Make sure these show up in your metadata, and make sure you test and measure each change. We use tools like SEO testing to track the impact of individual updates, and I'd encourage you to do the same. Content. Once your structure is clean and your pages are not fighting each other, the next layer is content. And the key thing I want you to understand is that for e-commerce, the content that matters the most is not blog content, it's your product and category pages. The fundamentals that drive results for e-commerce stores are product and category page content, not the latest shiny tactic. That doesn't mean blog content is useless, far from it, but blogs should be supporting your commercial pages, not competing with them. Here's what I focus on when it comes to e-commerce content that performs. Category pages should be written for buying intent, not just listing products. They should explain what the category is, who it's for, and why your products are the right fit. Think of it as a guided shopping experience, not just a product grid. Product page templates should be improved across all your variants. A lot of stores use the same manufacturer copy across dozens of products, and that creates duplicate content that doesn't differentiate you from every other retailer selling the same thing. On the strategy side, I follow a framework that works across landing pages, blog content, buyer guides, and FAQs. First, understand the market. Identify competitors and content gaps. Second, identify topic areas that align with audience needs. Third, break those topics into a content plan where each piece positions your product as a solution to a problem. And fourth, produce that content with subject matter experts, not just AI-generated copy. Google is looking for EEAT signals: experience, expertise, authority, and trust. And AI content alone will not give you those elements. And this connects to something that a lot of e-commerce brands miss. AI search visibility is now an added layer on top of all of this. Your homepage, your about page, even your metadata. These are not just for human visitors anymore. They're being used by AI platforms as training data. We've seen one of our clients get cited in ChatGPT results, and that happened because we rewrote their homepage copy to be more specific about their unique selling points. I've even seen ChatGPT directly quote content we put into meta descriptions. But here's the important thing. If your site is not structurally sound and your fundamentals are not in place, trying to gain visibility in AI platforms just doesn't make sense. Fix the basics first, and AI visibility becomes an added benefit rather than a separate project. Now, if you're watching this and thinking, I know my site has some of these problems, but I'm not sure which ones to fix first, that's exactly what we help with. Just click the link in the description to book an intro call with us. We'll look at your site, identify what's actually holding you back, and map out what to prioritize to start generating a consistent amount of traffic and sales from SEO. We only take on clients where we know we can make a meaningful impact. So feel free to click that first link below to book your intro call. And if you want to see exactly how we helped an e-commerce brand 4x their sales from SEO, then watch this video next.